Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you getting into my January budget closeout. Now I close my budget out by closing out my weekly check-in and then taking those numbers, plugging them in for paycheck 2 closeout, and that gives me my final number for the month of January, and we're going to have a little bit of a rollover. I'm glad we're in positive numbers. I have already made an extra payment to the credit card. I had some extra charges that I needed to take care of, and I'm still paying down that dreaded vacation spending that I haven't paid off yet. So we'll get into those numbers and I will show you my credit card transaction log at the end of the video, and we will go from there. So here's the end of the month. We are checking in for the spending part Thursday the 23rd to Wednesday the 29th. Now my husband gets paid the last day of every month, and I use that for the first of the month's bills and spending. So my first of the month for spending is actually the 30th of every month. Next month it'll be the 28th, I think, just because it's February and it's only 28 days. But every month, every other month in the calendar has 30 days at a minimum, and so usually my husband gets paid on the last day of every month, and because of that, that is what I consider paycheck 1 and first of the month spending. So these 2 days do not count. As you can see, we had a lot of no spend days. If I don't count these, I think there's like 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. So low spend for 23 or 28 days of January. We had snow. There's just snow on the ground. So almost the whole month of January was snow. Where I live, if it snows, it only lasts a day or two and then it's gone. In eastern Kentucky is where I live. And this came in, dropped a lot of snow, stayed well below freezing, kept the snow, created a lot of ice. And so I just don't venture out when it's like those conditions and stuff. And it always concerns me. So that is what happened this month. It was a low spend month because I didn't want to order anything and make delivery drivers walk on my icy sidewalk and to the house, and I don't want to leave the house. So we just didn't spend as much. Towards the end, we spent more just because the roads were better and we could get out a little more, and I had some subscribe and save from Amazon that were ordered. They come in every month and things like that, and I actually forgot about those. So I have to find a way to remind myself that's already being paid for. So we'll see. Maybe I'll make it a bill or something so it's balanced in the whole budget. But typically I take it out of grocery household. So let's go ahead and dive into the numbers. I have a lot of grocery household to go through. I'm not going to go through in detail everything, but we are going to check these off and just go through what I spent on grocery household. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. I've got a lot of new people coming to the channel, so welcome. This is my end of the month closeout. I have 6 categories: grocery household, restaurants, miscellaneous, gas, and copay, and unbudgeted. Unbudgeted just means I didn't plan for it and it comes out of the buffer of the checking account. Even though I didn't have much of a buffer in my pre-planning or in my budget planning before I knew all the numbers that were going to come in, I did have money left over because we had such a low spend month. So I was able to use that for something that I wasn't quite prepared to spend money on, but I went ahead and did it anyway. So, and that's that yellow right here. So we're going to actually start with all the pink. I grocery shop at kind of 2 places. Meijer, which is my local grocery store, and I've been doing grocery pickups. I've only gone in 2-3 times this month just because I don't want to go in and it's cold and flu season and touch the buggies and be in the air, and I don't know. I always seem to get sick if I go in the grocery store like normal during that time period because it's just everywhere and it's hard to escape it. So I make them bring the groceries to me and put them in the back of my car. So that works for me. First one I have is on Friday. I picked up $100.58 worth of groceries, odds and ends stuff, meals and stuff like that. Any things I needed for recipes and stuff. Amazon, this one, $30.85. I'm actually going to have to look that up. This one here was Goody's headache powder. My husband requested it. My grocery store didn't have it. Amazon had it, obviously. And then I also spent money on liquid hydration multiplier, liquid IV. I buy those kind of frequently. My husband uses them all the time, and it helps with keep his migraines at bay because he's more hydrated and he has less migraines. So that's just something we discovered. He really works for him, and we just order them through Amazon because our grocery store doesn't have what we want in stock all the time, so it's just easier to order from there. So that's what those two were combined. That was $30.85. I do get a lot of supplements on Amazon, so that's what you're going to see here in a minute. And then, so a few days went by. On the 28th, we had another grocery pickup for $106.88, and I realized when I ordered these groceries, the prices of everything have jumped in January. Like everything. All of a sudden, things are like 20, 50 cents more than they were last month in December. And then I also saw a couple items that jumped up $1. So I'm not sure why, but things were going up in price. Then I realized I forgot a few things. So I ran inside real quick and spent $18.58. Oh, I forgot to check these off. And then that evening, I realized I forgot to pick up the bananas. My husband always has a piece of fruit and makes his lunch and goes out when he goes out on the road to do his job. He always takes his lunch with him, and he likes to have like an apple or banana, and I completely forgot to grab a bundle of bananas. And so that's bananas, and then I remembered I needed some oil, and then I just kept remembering things, and then I got caught with, okay, I'm going to spend $4 on these, Mott's applesauce. One had strawberries, one of them's applesauce, and it's no sugar added. So I have a severe sweet tooth, so it's just something to snack on in the evening that kind of satisfies that without going too far into sugar. And what I could, like a candy bar or soda or something else. So I always try to make sure it's less than what I would normally do, and I try not to because I'm a diabetic as well. So something that would work that's not going to spike my sugar too bad, that's what I got. $13.62 was all of that. And that is all for the Meijer grocery store. Here on the 29th, this is our subscribe and save stuff, and they charge individually for that. And I did write down what everything was. So this bottom one here is pre and probiotics, which is $23.82. That's my husband's supplement. Now, yeah, I could get supplements at the grocery store. It's just so convenient and a little bit cheaper at Amazon for the same thing. So, and some of these things I don't even carry or don't always have it in stock. So this guarantees I get it in stock pretty much. And if not, they notify me ahead of time. Amazon magnesium. We both take magnesium supplements at night. It really helps. Highly absorbing magnesium. That's what you want if you really want it to work. But it does make you drowsy, so be careful. Amazon D3K2, that's one of mine that was recommended by a doctor. And then another pack of liquid IV. The other one was like golden cherry. This one is blackberry and peach. So these are the ones my husband drinks all the time. One of them has caffeine, this blackberry and peach does, but the golden cherry does not have caffeine. So he bases what he's going to drink on when he needs the caffeine. And so he doesn't always drink the caffeine one, but he does have it. So that is the groceries for this week, and we're going to total all of that up, and I will be right back. Okay, so we spent in total $342.92. So that's pretty good for us, under $350 for the week. And yeah, we got everything we needed, so we're good to go there. So next I have restaurants. So I always abbreviate what my categories are. So if you're like, what's rest? It's just restaurants. I don't like calling it eating out for whatever reason, or dine out, or whatever you want to call that category. I just call it restaurants because it's not groceries, it's restaurants. It's restaurants we go to and things like that. So the first one I have here is, they're in blue, is this Chick-fil-A, $43.50. And the whole family got Chick-fil-A that day. I'm trying to remember what was on the calendar that made me think we should do that. Oh, I was not home most that day. I didn't get home till 3:30, so I didn't get to prepare like I normally would. And it was normally my son's, or our family has chicken on Thursday nights. It's just a routine we have. And so I'm like, well, that's a perfect time to grab some Chick-fil-A and for the whole family. And that's what I got there. So $43.50. And then the next thing I have is Papa John's. I had some Papa Cash through the Papa John's app on a few deliveries that were done. I switched back between DoorDash and Papa John's depending on who's cheaper. And I was able to get like $6 discount. Normally it's $6 more, and give a little extra in a tip. Order from the Papa John's app. So it was delivered and a little bit cheaper this time. My husband and I went out to Casa Fiesta for dinner. We didn't want pizza with our son, so $47.19. My husband got a drink and a couple meals there. So $43.47. So I burnt dinner this night. I'm not the best cook. I really don't like cooking. And I didn't burn my son's dinner. I just burnt mine and my husband's dinner. My sons are so routine in what they eat. I know what to fix every night of the week because they have a specific routine. One night is spaghetti night, one night's pizza night, one night's a chicken meal. Actually, 2 nights are chicken meal, and then a lasagna, hamburger helper lasagna, and then things like that. So theirs is pretty simple. My husband doesn't like the same thing all the time, and I really have to kind of come up with recipes and stuff like that. And I was doing baked spaghetti, and I left it in the oven too long, and I burnt, not just browned the cheese on top, but I charcoal burnt. There's a little bit of smoke involved. No smoke detectors went off, but I thought they were going to. So I was like, just order some Buffalo Wild Wings. I just messed up the whole night. And we laughed and moved on. So we did have to spend money eating out there. If I hadn't burnt dinner that night, we could have saved that $43.47, but I did, and I'm like, it's okay. We'll just move on from here. So let's total these numbers up, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that was $161.90. Again, that was an extra meal. Here, we normally don't order or do eating out on Thursdays. It's usually Friday and Saturday. And we've been trying to do less eating out. But we had an extra here and an extra there. So we spent more on eating out than I thought we would. But it's still good. We're okay. Next, we have miscellaneous. I'm going to go over here now. Here, I was finishing up some paperwork that I needed to do. I downloaded a PDF from the specific program, and I couldn't go back and download these PDFs individually. It's a new program to me, and I got frustrated, so I'm like, I got to figure out how to separate this 4-page PDF into 4 PDFs. And I found this PDF splitter, and so I paid for an $1.75 or $1.95 for a 7-day trial, and split the 4 pages and then canceled it. So I shouldn't get the monthly charge. I think it's $25 for, what is it, Adobe Acrobat or Acrobat Adobe Reader full program with all the bells and whistles. I wouldn't have a need for it after that splitter, so I'll just know not to do that next time. So I went ahead and paid for that, and that was $1.95 just for those 7 days. And then I ordered more sticker paper. Everything you see on here that's color is sticker. It's a removable adhesive, and I print and cut my own. All of these are mine except for the no spend. Sara Marie Stickers has a no spend. She's linked below if you're interested in looking at her shop for any planner and budgeting needs for sticker planning, decorative planning, and things like that. So I learned based on her model of her stickers and started cutting my own for myself for personal use. And I needed more sticker paper. I got 100 sheets a few months ago and I'm down quite a bit. I've been cutting a lot of my own stickers for other planners and stuff, so it's been fun. That was $45.08. I ordered them from onlinelabels.com. I don't have affiliates or anything like that. I do have a discount code for Sara Maria in the description box, so if you're interested, go check that out and use her link. Let's see. And that, oh, that's not it. Okay, so those two items really quick are $195 plus $45.08, and that is $47.03. That is what we spent in miscellaneous items. Now, we are over a little bit in miscellaneous. I just didn't want to take it out of a different category because it is considered a miscellaneous, and I allowed myself to go over knowing there was going to be money left over to cover the overage in these 6 categories. So if you combine them all and give yourself one number for all of these categories together, we're still within that range, and we still have money left over for the month. A little bit, but we still have some. Next, I have Marathon. It's our gas station. We spent $51.33 in my car. I'm still surprised that it's low enough that it's below $60. If you've seen my channel, you know, up until a month or so ago, it was 60, 65, 63, that range. So I'm not sure why it's so low right now, but I'll take it. I'm surprised every time I see that number. And last but not least is this Lexington Con ticket. So I purchased my ticket and my son's ticket for Lexington Con. It's a convention. It's a, what do they call it? Toy and comic conventions, and they have celebrities that show up. If you've been here a while, you know my son and I like to do that. We normally go to Raleigh to GalaxyCon every year in the summer, but we can't afford it. It was like thousands of dollars. So we're here doing one local, and we've got a list of people we want to meet, and we're really excited about that. So I bought my ticket and my son paid for his ticket. So there were 65, and we only bought 1 day pass. And we're going to go on Saturday, and everyone that my son wants to meet, because he's the one that really wants to get all these autographs. I'm the one that kind of tags along and then gets a couple autographs. He has a list, and then I have a list. And I actually have some spending money that's cash that I haven't put in the bank. I've been meaning to do, about $100. So I think I'm going to get an autograph and hopefully a selfie at the table with Andrew McCarthy. That is aging me, I know, but he was one of my favorite actors growing up in the 80s, and so I'm really excited to see him. So I want to see him, and then who's the other guy that's going to be there? Jonathan Silverman. They both played in Weekend at Bernie's in the same movie, and they're both going to be there that weekend. So I don't know, I won't have enough to get both autographs, but I know I'll have enough to get one, and maybe we might have some extra money. I can get more. But last year I got Holly Combs from Charmed, and before Shannon Doherty passed away, like a few months before she passed away, I got her autograph as well and met her and got pictures with her. So I'm excited. I know there's a big segue, but I'm excited to go to the con. I really like meeting these people, and they're just a lot of fun and a little addicting. So, but we're spending way less than what we usually spend on these things. So those are all my transactions that I'm paying for. Go ahead and check that off. Now I got to figure out how much we have to pay the credit card back. Here I have paycheck 2. And I haven't come up with an easy way to check on bills that I put on the credit card. And if you don't know, if you're new, I do put all my spending on the credit card. And then I also put some bills like streaming services and things like that that can be put on the credit card. I put them here on the credit card. And then I pay my credit card. I used to pay it off once a week, but right now I have some debt on there and I'm trying to get that paid down. And I'll talk about that at the end of the video. But I don't have any bills that got put on this week. So these were already taken care of in week 3. This highlight in blue. So I don't have anything from paycheck 2 that I need to cover that are bill related. So we're just going to go ahead and jump to the weekly check-in. I have not paid the credit card yet. I'll be doing that when I get off camera. So let's go ahead and get these numbers down. Grocery household, I had a budget. I have a budget of $456.56. Let's see if I can get all this on here and it look okay. And we spent $342.92. That gives us $113 left in the budget after the week was over. Next we have restaurants, which was $233.53. And we spent $161.90. Now, if I had other weeks after this, I would be dividing them by the number of weeks that was left, and then I would know how much to go forward with. But because this is the end of the month, I'm just closing things out. I'm just figuring out how much we spent. So $161.90. We still had $71. As I was saying before the battery cut off, for restaurants we had $71.63. I had $20.95, and we spent more than what I had allotted, but I knew I had extra money here, so I went ahead and went over. So it's $47.03. There we go. For miscellaneous. So that is going to be covered with the extra that I have left over in the other categories. Next, I have gasoline. We had $194.72 with all the snow. I was not driving. My husband has a vehicle for work, and it's provided. He works for the state, so the state pays for the gas, the state pays for the maintenance. So, and then he drives it all week long, and he doesn't drive our personal vehicles at all unless it's the weekend. So he has a vehicle. We've had it for years, but he doesn't have to drive it very much. So we're trying to figure out what to do about that. So we have $194.72 minus the one gas transaction I had, which was $51.33. And I still, oh, I forgot to write that down here. $51.33. And I still had $143.39. Getting really sloppy here. Very sorry. There we go. All right, copay. There was 0 copay. Right, yeah. So I still had $54.31. I do have one unbudgeted, and that is $65.65. That was my ticket to Lexington Con. So we are going to put that in the negative as well because I didn't plan for it. Oops. I'm making all kinds of writing mistakes today. 65. All right, there we go. Now we can see how much cash was left over that I planned out of the spending budget that we had for this month. So here I have $113.64 plus the $71.63 minus the $26.08 plus the $143.39 and plus the $54.31 minus the $65.65. So that left $291.24 for the budget. I'm just going to kind of write that at the bottom here just to make a note of it. $291.24. And I want to check the number really quick. So the number I was checking for was what I've already paid the credit card, and I put it on paycheck 2 bills. So I'll show you that in a minute once I'm done here. And that'll give me the number of exactly how much I paid the credit card extra and what was left over out of all this. Because this leftover money, this $291.24, part of it went to pay the credit card and part of it was just left in the buffer to the checking account. So we're going to see what that number looks like here in a second. Right now, I want to total up all of these spent so I know what to pay back the credit card because I haven't done that yet. So that's $342.92 plus the $161.90. plus the 4703 and the 5133 and the 6565. So I need to pay the credit card back $668.83. And that is what my notes say. So I am happy about that I got that number right and I didn't mess anything up. So I will be paying back the credit card after the video is filmed, and I will check these off because that's what I put here in the notes section, is a little check mark that I've paid it. That's all that is. Now you could do other notes. You can divide it by the number of weeks and it tells you how many weeks are left, or how much you can spend a week if you want to do it that way. I used to, if you don't want to start with the full amount up front and subtract your way down, because you can budget for just the 1 week, a certain amount, but I found I was going negative all the time and it was driving me crazy even though I knew I had all the money in the account. But you need to budget with the actual cash that you actually have, and the reason I can actually put all of this up front is because 80% of our income comes at the beginning of the month, and the cash is sitting there in my checking account and ready to use all through the month. So I can just start from this number and work my way down. That way, not all of this is red anymore. If you watched my older videos, you would have seen what I was talking about. So now what I do for my paycheck to close out is I need the balances of what I spent in each category for the weeks for that paycheck period. And paycheck 2 is week 3 and week 4, the weekly check-in. I combine these numbers together. So if I take $454.59, which is what I spent, plus the $342.92 of what I spent in week 4 here, then I will have the total I need for my paycheck to close out, which is $797.51. And that number will go here in grocery household paycheck to close out here, the actuals. So that's what I'm going to start doing here, and I will be right back. Okay, I have all my numbers written down. I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through this with you. So I have the income. The income did not change, so that number is not going to change. We'll put 0 here. And we'll just double check the math. Make sure I just have the right number here. We have $1,505.65 that balance forward from paycheck 1 to paycheck 2. That was carried over to the new paycheck period. I'm going to add the paycheck that my husband received, which was $1,418.75. And that gave us, yep, I was right the first time, $2,924.40. So we are good. Income is what we thought it was going to be, and it was. Usually by the time I'm setting up paycheck 2, I already know the pending deposit, so I know to the penny what I need. I don't have to do the lower amount and then adjust forward. I just put whatever I know at that moment in time, because every sheet in here is a snapshot of a specific moment in time, and it changes day to day. And you just got to keep up with the changes. That's all a budgeting is seeing what it looks like and how it's trending and when things are coming and going through your checking account. So next thing I have is all of these. So the check has cleared for our tithe. Our bills came out, and the only thing changed here was I did lower my sinking funds by $63.59 and put all of that into my money market account. And then there was one bill. If you saw my sinking funds closeout, you would know I paid for Norton out of the checking account for my husband's internet security stuff, whatever Norton is, for his PC laptop. I have a Mac, he has a PC, so we're house divided here. And so I was paying, that charge hit the credit card, and I paid for that straight from the checking account. It's just so I didn't have to move money around all over the place, but I still had to account for it. So that's what I did here. And I made a note of sinking funds, pay credit card for Norton. And that's why that was lowered, because these sinking funds weren't due yet. So these sinking funds just needed the deposit put into that particular savings account. The only other thing that happened on here that wasn't part of the setup is I did already make a payment to the credit card to pay down the amount I owe on it. That's in addition to what I normally spend. So I will definitely be paying back the credit card, the $668.83, but it will not pay off my credit card. It will just pay off what I put on it in the month of January, the last of it. I have stuff that's come over since, I think, October. Part of it was a vacation we went on October of 2024, and part of it is a hotel reservation that I have coming up in April. So we're excited about that. I don't know how we're taking care of that, but we will figure this out. I do have some ideas. I just don't know quite yet. So when I planned, and I knew I was going to have extra money because it was a low spend month, I looked at the number of what I owed to the credit card, and I kind of have a sticky note that just says what it is. And this is my transaction log that I use for my credit card so I can keep track of everything that goes on it, when I make a payment and all this. This is how I keep from paying interest on my credit card. I have a transaction log that I use, and every transaction that hits it gets on here, and then I have to figure out how to pay it. So if you're paying on it, like we put almost $4,000 a month on our credit card, and we pay almost $4,000 a month on our credit card, and it's way above the minimum, so interest is not being charged because so much goes on and off and it's paid for. It doesn't get an opportunity to be charged interest so far. Unless they decide to change the rules on how the interest works, that's what we're doing. And right now our vacation debt is sitting at $1,618. When I started the month, our vacation debt that I rolled over was $1,686.71, which is about the same number there. So it didn't go much down from that. Yeah, about, what is that? Let's see, $1,686.71 minus $1,618. So $68.71 of what I put on the credit card paid down that part of the vacation. But the other part of what I paid on the credit card was this Fairfield Inn deposit for the travel in April. So it's an important time for us, and we're going to go. So total I put $250.11, and that's the only thing new that wasn't planned. So when it's not planned, when I don't plan it with you guys, then I have to put not budgeted because it didn't go part of this number, but then put the actual, and that's how I include it in the budget. Now moving forward from here, we're going to take a look at the totals here. So I'm going to get my calculator back. So let's total the actuals for paycheck 2 on the bills and spending and see what's left over that I can transfer, not really transfer, that I can leave in the checking account to balance forward into the month of February. It's not a lot, but it's something, and I need the extra cash for that part of the month. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, the actual I have for paycheck 2 in our bills side here, all the bills that came out, was $1,550.03. And then the actual spending categories, my variable spending that I have on this side, I don't really label them fixed and variable, but that's kind of what they are. We did $1,313.34. So let's see if I did the math right and come up the number I have on my notes for the balance forward into February. So what I have here is $2,924.40, and we're going to subtract the $1,550.03, and then we're going to subtract the $1,313.34. That gives me exactly what my notes say, thank goodness. Okay, my balance, I'm going to turn this sideways so I can write a little bit better. Balance forward February is $61.03. So that is what I'm leaving in my checking account once the income hits for the month of February, which actually starts the 30th of January. So my husband gets paid at the end of the month, and because there's no bills or spending that I actually count for on the 30th, 31st, and going into February, I just go ahead and count the 30th as the first of the month and start over then on the calendar, which works for us. So, but this money will be sitting in the checking account when those deposits hit and ready for the new month, and we are going to go on from there. So that is paycheck 2 closeout with the weekly check-in closeout. We're done for the month of February. It's in the books. And I'm glad we have some money left over. And I'm glad to have been able to put $250.11 on the credit card so that I can pay a little bit of the vacation spending that I still have left on this sticky note right here that I make a note for myself. Here's the payment I made here. And if you're wondering about this $65.65, my son's payment for his ticket also was posted on here. I'm paying this one today. But the actual amount for the ticket was $130, and he paid for his separately. So I went ahead and made that transfer, and then I'm going to transfer today the rest of it. That's why it's split in two. Yeah, that's just kind of how we worked it out. But this is going to drop down. This total drops down, pretty sure. Let me do it on my transaction log here so you can see that. I always write, let's see, 29 is today's date. I put a little plus sign here in front of me anytime I make a payment. And then we're doing $668.83. Let's see and make sure we did our math right here, that this balance drops payment to this amount up here. So $2,286.83. Every time a transaction hits the credit card, I log it here every single day. So I make sure I go through it, and it works pretty good. I'm going to take $668.83 and perfect. Okay, so I'm starting and I'm going to make this payment as soon as I get off this video. Oops, I wrote the wrong thing now. So when we start the new month, I can go ahead and mark this as my beginning balance that I owe on the credit card, and that's what you'll see is the not the payment or this, but the new balance. It'll start with a zero amount for the new month, vacation for October, and then it'll say 1618 and then new available credit. So I like tracking the available credit because it kind of gives me that nudge of, oh, you're creeping up to more than a certain amount that you're used to putting on your credit card and you can't pay that off. Okay, you kind of feel that anxiousness of not wanting to carry that debt. So when you write it, every single thing down, it just works. Now I know not everybody can do this. I happen to have time to do this. You may not. So you may have to come up with a different system or a different way of making it feel like, oh, that's too much money on the credit card. It's going to take me all year to pay it off. I can't do that. Just don't let it creep up. If you're going to use a credit card, you've got to be responsible. The banks are not your friend, and having a credit card means you're just like everyone else in debt, and you have the same temptations as everyone else. So it doesn't make things better in your life to have a credit card. You don't even have to have one to have good credit. If you have a car or other kind of loan, mortgage, things like that, that's enough to build your credit on. You don't need the credit card to do that. And usually credit cards bring your credit score down because they're not paid off all the time. And me and my husband both have, I think, our FICO scores based on our bank and what they're looking at, old debt, new debt, and all the things. We're hovering in an 800 point range. I mean, we're in the 800s. So we have really good credit score, but it's because we really force ourselves to stay on top of it. So if you're really interested in improving your credit, Get rid of all the debt you can. If you want to keep one old debt, like if you have a mortgage or if you still have a car payment, that old debt will carry you through and keep your credit score going. And closing out those accounts, it'll dip down, but as you go within a year, it'll be right back up. And that's exactly what happened to us after we closed all our accounts and left one credit card and a mortgage, and that was it, and kept our credit card paid off pretty much since 2019. Not right now, I can't say that right now, but I think it's still well within the range, and I do have the cash to pay it off. So I kind of consider myself consumer debt free, but not really, because I am carrying that debt. So anyway, let's move on. This is the closeout of my budget, and we are good to go, and I have everything I need to know down here. I'm going to highlight this real quick. I like to use highlighters that match things. And I just use this Sharpie accent my husband gave me. He found it in the office. He's like, "You want it?" I was like, "Sure." I usually use mild liners, little mild liners, so that's what I usually use, but I like that green for the payments here. And that's it. So we are done. The month is over. And I am ready for February, and I know many of you are ready for February too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.